Hi everybody. So today I'm going to be talking about planning next year, what's coming up on the channel, some questions that I might have, just kind of thinking through a bunch of things, and I thought that I would turn the camera on. So today is Christmas Eve, 2022. So this won't come up until after Christmas. So, the boys are getting tools, car parts. Eric got a wideband OBD2 sensor for his birthday, which is actually the 22nd of December. He's getting a timing gear cover and adjustable timing gear and an engine mount and a bunch of stuff for his Civic, which he wants to spend money on. It's not the best car. I really wish that he would try to find a cleaner example and work on that one. But everyone in their first car has some attachment to it that is often unreasonable. So he's got some things coming. There'll be some content around that. He's done some really cool things. I mean, he actually chipped his car. He bought like a Texas Instruments chip and soldered a socket on his CPU and programmed it with a software on his computer, and he's got an AFR gauge and he's reading air fuel ratios out of his oxygen sensor, and he's adjusting fuel maps, and he's like tuning his own car, which is actually really cool. Every time he goes to make a video of something, he ends up, the camera runs dead or whatever, and he just doesn't realize it, and then he gives me like a half an hour of video for something that he spent 2.5 hours on, and then I end up not being able to like make a really good video out of it. So I think one of the things for me for next year is going to be kind of running the camera when the kids are doing their thing, and recording them and making sure that the content is good. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that's going on here that would be interesting to viewers. It would make good content, and it's just not being captured. And I would love to be able to share that with you guys. As for TAC, so TAC's Miata is still TAC's Miata. I mean, not much has changed in the last couple of months. He's got a small engine leak he's frustrated about. He hasn't worked on it very much, and his Miata isn't here. It's actually at his friend's house because we're having some trouble with our HOA, and we can't park on the street in front of our house. So we can put 3 cars in the garage, which I have my car, Jessica's car, and the Honda Passport, which is kind of like we both use that car. And then in the driveway, each boy has their own parking spot. So TAC has the Mazda 3 and Eric has his Civic. My thought was that TAC would end up selling the Mazda 3 and just keep the Miata, but the suspension is really tight. It's set up kind of for track use, even though he hasn't taken it to the track yet. He's, kind of building it for that. And he doesn't want to drive it every day because it sucks to drive, honestly. It's missing some interior bits and stuff like that. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with that in the future. TAC is talking about moving. He's 19, he'll be 20 soon. Moving out and getting a place on his own where he would have his own garage, his own space, his own the ability to have both of his cars at his house, and kind of growing up, which is cool. We live in California, which is going to be a problem for 2 reasons today. The first is that it's expensive for him to live here, so he's talking about moving out of state, which might be a fun adventure. U-hauling all of his stuff somewhere, or potentially moving and buying new or doing something different. Not exactly sure what's going to happen with that. So there might be some Miata content in the future. There's probably not going to be a ton of it because at some point the Miata is probably going to leave. He is talking about buying an FCRX7. He was very close to getting one and ended up, he asked the guy to give him a deposit so he could hold it. And the guy said no. He would be okay holding it for a day or two, and then he sold it out from under TAC before he could go and get a look at it because it was like 3 hours away. So it was just kind of a crappy situation all the way around. It was right around Thanksgiving. It was like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We were going to go on Black Friday and take a look at it. As far as the garage is concerned, I've got a lot of stuff to talk about here. I've got some new tools. I just got a Rupes HLR75 that I have to test. I want to compare that against the Flex PXE80, see which is the better 3-inch cordless polisher. My thought was that I would end up probably liking the HLR75 more and keeping that and selling the Flex. But now Flex has this kit where you can have like this wand thing where you can do like detail work, which looks super cool. So I kind of want that. And then I'm almost kind of hoping that I don't like the Rupes, but we'll see. So that just came in. I'm going to work on apparel this year and try to get the shirts a little bit better. When I do the shirts with the black screen printing, they hold up pretty well, but the white, the gray, the multicolor, I'm having trouble with those having longevity. I wear them more often than, an average person would. I would expect somebody who bought one of my shirts to wear it, once a month, maybe twice a month, something like that. Where I'm wearing them, 3 or 4 times a week. I might hit the same shirt, as often as once a week sometimes. So I'm definitely wearing them more than other people would, but they're wearing out faster than some of my other shirts that I like to wear, like my OG shirts or, the mini ones that I've gotten from TeePublic. So I just want to kind of get that straightened out, and I don't know if that means me working with somebody else. I was thinking about reaching out to Hidden Skins, which is the company that Obsessed Garage uses to make their shirts, and having them do my shirts for me. That means I'm probably going to have some sort of buy where I have to buy, $1,000 worth of shirts or something like that to get somebody to actually, like most places have minimum orders. The reason I'm using TeePublic and was using Rush Order Tees was because they didn't. They charge a setup fee and then they charge you for per product. So you pay more per product, but when you're only buying 10 shirts, spending $30 a shirt is way better than spending $200 on a setup fee and then having a minimum order of 50 shirts at $20 a piece and spending $1,200 on 30 shirts or 50 shirts rather. It gets better as you buy more, of course. So the Mercedes is going to get left alone. It's going to need front tires soon, so it'll get Michelin Pilot Sport 4s. The lease is up on that in April, but we're going to buy it out because she really likes the car and wants to keep it. And we bought it before COVID, so we actually have equity in the vehicle, so it's not a bad buy. It's low mileage, it's clean. We've done all the work on it ourselves, so I know exactly its history. It's never been any accidents or anything like that. It's also going to end up getting a ceramic coating. I'm going to do that this year, clean it up and do a ceramic coating in the spring. I'll probably do CSL and XO. I have a bottle of CSL and a bottle of XO, so I might as well use those and try them out and see how I like them. It'll be my first time doing a ceramic coating on a vehicle. I've done ceramic coatings on wheels before, but it'll be an interesting thing. The paint on the car is almost perfect, so there'll be a couple little swirls here or there that I have to clean up, but other than that, it should be a good canvas for me to do that. So, the Honda's lease, we're a year into that. The car's been good, haven't had any problems with it. I'm not really going to do much to that. We're not going to keep it outside of its lease. When it's up, we'll just turn it in or buy it and trade it, or whatever makes the most sense financially. I'm probably going to put a sound system in it because the sound system that's in it isn't that great, and I have all the stuff here to do it. I just haven't gotten to it yet. So I'll probably do that early next year, just get it done. It's been on my list for a while, and I just haven't gotten it done. The Mini. So I've had the Mini for a little over a year. I really do like the car. It runs great. It's got about 60,000 miles on it, which is getting high for me. I do have plans to do brakes on it early next year. I have most of the stuff that I need. I need pads and rotors. Once they come in, then I'll be able to do that. So, in the next, say, 2 months, that should be getting done. I was thinking about trying a CarPlay retrofit. Bimmertech is the one that I'm looking at. It's about $700. If anybody has any experience with those in different BMWs or Minis, post a comment below the video. Be interested in hearing what you have to say. It should be cool though. I really do like CarPlay, and I think that it's something that's kind of necessary, especially for a car that you're driving all the time. I often drive it when I'm working, going places and stuff, and oftentimes I haven't been there before, and there isn't really a good phone holder for that car. I know there's a bunch of people that make them, but they all block vents, radio, screens, something like that. It's just, there isn't a good one. Looked at a couple other things, pedal covers, maybe doing a different sub. The car's going to need tires this year, so I'll do Pilot Sport 4s on that as well. It has some hand clicks right now. Not sure what the future of the Mini is though. I really do like the car, and I think that I want to have some sort of Mini in my life. But I think that once I get these last couple things done, it's going to kind of be to the place where I want it to be, and therefore I'm going to be ready to move on. So, looking at moving on and what that might entail, I'm interested in the M2, not the current generation M2, the last generation M2, like a 2018-ish M2. I can find some of them with low mileage, pretty clean. I might pick one of those up. Maybe an F80 M3. I always liked that car. I always thought it looked great. It's a little bit more practical than either the Mini or the M2 would be. So I would have a higher likelihood of being able to, take it when we're going out to dinner or doing this or that, or the kids, one or two kids needs to come with me. The Mini really doesn't do well with kids. It's, two people up front, and my 9-year-old can sit in the back, but she sits like cross-legged. So, looking at those and trying to figure out what's next. Ultimately, I'd like to get a Porsche. I'd like a Porsche Cayman, like a GTS or a GT4. I think a GT4 is pretty far out of reach for me. GTS is probably available, but I think I want to start with like a regular Cayman, a base Cayman or a Cayman S, and kind of move up through the progression. But those are expensive, and also I don't know that they generate a lot of good content for my channel. I'm not really going to be able to do much in terms of working on them. Wheels and tires, maybe some exhaust work, maybe installing an option or two that the car needed that it doesn't have. But other than that, it just is what it is. The Mini has so much more modification potential. I was also thinking about potentially trying to find an older Honda, like a Prelude or an Integra, something like that, that could be a fun project car that I could, work on and mess around with, and it would just kind of bring me back to where I started. My first car was a Prelude, a 92 Prelude SI. I'd like to mess around with something like that, do some work on it. Now that I actually have some money and the means to do that, it would be fun. I think though that ultimately I would get to a point where I don't really want to drive that car, because it's just not nearly as nice as the Mini. It's not nearly as nice as the Honda. So being in it for any length of time would, it would kind of suck. Ultimately, I think that I would get bored with that quick, and I would want to get out of it quick, and I'd probably have a lot of money into it, so it probably wouldn't be the best financial decision. But those cars are cheap to work on. Parts are a dime a dozen. There's availability of almost everything. Something that actually, one idea that I had was doing maybe a classic Mini, and by classic I mean pre-2001, like the hard body style Mini, the Austin Mini. They look pretty similar from the 1960s all the way up to early 2000, and they're really neat cars. And they came with either a 1000cc or a 1200cc or 1300cc engine that really had no power, but there are a couple companies that make kits to drop a Honda engine in it, so either a D series, a B series, or a K series. So I was thinking about trying to find one that was kind of a clean shell, decent, that I could do some work to, and I could do a swap to a B series. I'd probably do like a B16. I don't need anything crazy. 160, 170 horsepower in that car is going to be a rocket. But I thought something like that could actually be a lot of fun, could make a lot of content on the channel, and it could maybe be like my long-term Mini, and it would make it easier for me to sell, because I really do like this Mini. I think it's awesome. The problem that I run into is storage, right? I have storage for 3 cars, and the Mercedes needs to be in here. The Honda's brand new, so really that should be in here. So I have room for 1 car for me. And I can't work on cars in the driveway. I can't have things taken apart outside, that kind of stuff. So if I were to buy another project car, an M2 or whatever, that the Mini needs to go outside, or the Honda needs to go outside in order to facilitate that. And maybe I end up doing that, just putting the Honda outside long term. It is a lease. I don't expect to keep it. Maybe that ends up being okay, but I think it's going to drive my OCD nuts when I go outside and see this thing is covered with water spots every day, or it's constantly dirty, or it's this or it's that. It's probably going to drive me crazy. But whatever, figure that out. In terms of the garage, in the beginning of next year, I'm going to place a large order for supplies. I'm going to order a lot of rags from the rag company. I have a wholesale account with the rag company, so I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff and just kind of get stocked up. There's a $500 order minimum, so it just makes sense for next. I'm going to use it for next tax year. Same thing with OG. I'm going to order a bunch of chemicals. I need some eraser. I need some Tarex. I need some. I have a bunch of GSF. I need some brake buster. I need some other supplies. Anything that I don't have a full one of, I'm going to order a backup of and just have some chemicals on hand so that I don't have to worry about if there's supply shortages or whatever and I run out. Like, I won't ever run out because of the amount that I use. Potentially doing a different vacuum system, so an installed vacuum. I was looking at, OG's coming out with their own vacuum solution, maybe doing something like that, putting the vacuum canister up in my attic, mounting the reel on the wall, running the piping through the wall to the reel, and having some sort of solution like that, I think would be really cool. Another option would be just to get a normal floor unit, like a roll around to replace I have a rigid right now, it's fine. I'm just looking for something a little bit better. I do like the Festool MIDI. It's about $700. So then I'm into territory of like, I might as well just get an installed vacuum. So my thought is that I'm gonna at least wait until the OG solution comes out, see what it is, see what it costs, see if I like it or don't like it, and then I'll make a decision one way or the other. I think I'm gonna do jack shaft garage door openers this year, mostly because on the large bay right behind me, I wanna get the garage door opener off of the ceiling and out of the way so that I can actually lift the Passport higher or an SUV higher on my quick jacks. Right now I can't extend fully without putting the garage door opener through my windshield. Also, every single time the power goes out, we can't open our garage doors, and that's the only physical entrance into our house. All of the exterior doors are like, there's bolts on them. So, and none of us carry keys for the doors. So when we're out and the power goes out, it becomes a problem to get back in if somebody's not home. So we're going to do that. Battery backup is automatically included in those. So probably a LiftMaster 8500W. I was also looking at the Genie options. If anybody has any experience with those, let me know. When/if TAC does move out, I'm going to be moving some bedrooms around and making one of the bedrooms into an office for me. So I have an uplift desk that'll get moved in there, my Dyne Audio LYDs. I'm probably going to do a Dyne Audio sub. I might mess around with some acoustic treatments, get maybe another LG TV for in there, and just kind of do a nice office for myself. I work from home every single day, so it would be, I'd like to have a place that's not in the living room for me to do that. So that'll happen with the availability of another room. So I'm looking at acoustic treatments. I'm looking at like the GIK panels or other different, like those hexes and different things like that. I'm also thinking about maybe doing some acoustic treatments in the garage to make the video sound a little bit better. So that might be something that happens as well. Play around with a couple different things. I would like to work on there's like a side room over here. So there's a side room here, which I'm pretty sure was built without permits. Anyway, so this is all tax stuff, which would go when he leaves. This is all Eric stuff in the middle. And then this is where I ship things when I do eBay or other types of things. So I'd like to make better use of this space. The vacuum would obviously go when I get my new vacuum. My thought is that I paint this to match the rest of the garage, the black ceiling, the gray walls. I have extra paint. I don't even think I would have to buy paint to do this, which is kind of nice. I want to finish the Swiss tracks. I kind of started Swiss tracks here, but I still need, 30 more tiles. This whole side needs to be done. This whole edge would need to be done. So I would like to do that. And then I was also thinking about potentially doing some sort of like a lev rack style system, replacing this with a lev rack. And I'm not sure where that puts my shipping supplies, but maybe I can pare that down a little bit and have less of it. There's some like e-waste there and other stuff as well from my job. So that can kind of go. Yeah, so I think that's about it for today. Hopefully everybody watching this had a great Christmas. This will get posted right after Christmas, so as not to ruin my kids' presents. You know, it's been a lot of fun, and the YouTube channel is there's finally income. I can't use the word profitable. It's not profitable. It's a huge, major financial loss, but there is actually income, which is cool. So hopefully at some point there will actually be enough to maybe support itself, and I can do more content that's more exciting, and maybe I could do a project on a Honda and lose a bunch of money and be okay with that because the content makes up for it, kind of thing. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you're not subscribed and this stuff that I'm talking about interests you, it would be awesome if you did. Subscriptions, watching the videos, it really, really helps. And I appreciate the support. I appreciate the people that post in the comments. I appreciate, everything that's happened so far. And I'm looking forward to making it better and better and better. I'm always looking for feedback. If you have any, share it. If you ever want to shoot me an email, it's jeff@improvedgarage.com. It's improved dash, there's a hyphen in the middle, improved-garage.com, or theimprovedgarage.com with no hyphen. Either one of those will get to me. Also this year, I'm going to try to make a website so that I can have all of my links and different things like that there in one place. It'll make it easier for me to maintain it rather than having to go back to videos and change things as I change things. I just think that'd be really helpful. So, yeah, looking forward to another great year. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll have a great day.